She writes songs with one season in the sun on Santa Cruz Voice Radio. Tuesday, June 16th. Today we've got a little Nashville headed our way. Mary Kutter joins us live. She writes songs with a little dust on their boots and a whole lot of stories behind them. We'll talk about the music, the writing, the road she's traveling, and how she's building a career one song at a time. We'll hear about where those stories come from, how someone so young can write with so much depth, and what's next as her career continues to take off. So grab that coffee, settle in for a spell, and spend part of your afternoon with one of country music's rising voices. Mary Kutter is coming up next on One Season in the Sun on Santa Cruz Voice Radio.
I pushed pause and then pause, restarted it. That was fun. All right, let's see here. All right, well, a couple things going on. We do have Mary Kutter coming on here at 4 o'clock her time, 2 o'clock our time. That's going to be fun. I've been looking really forward to this. Let's talk about some of the other stuff first. It is, oh my goodness, 69 in Monterey, 71 in Santa Cruz, 78 in Hollister, 72 in Salinas, 67 in San Francisco, 87 in San Jose. God, I'm glad I didn't put together. I was almost having to go to Morgan Hill, where it is 85. It is 86 in Gorman. That's because it's a lot closer to the sun than us. And it is 80 in Anaheim, which Gorman is on the way to. Let's see. This weekend, Giants are just kind of going a little on the. I have no idea what the heck to take making this team right now. Giants 29 and 43 after not playing last night, beating the Cubs 5-1 on Sunday. We were there. It was a good all-around performance, but that is conversely to Saturday getting 7 hits, giving up 11, giving up I think 2 runs on an error, 2 runs as the long-term result of an error, and losing 6-1 on Saturday, and then losing 5-1 on Friday, not taking advantage of 2 errors given to them, and it's just been a little bit difficult to figure out over this season. We were sitting here talking in the press box on Sunday about who is not available, or who's not available if they're looking to get do some stuff at the trade deadline. And there's a few guys, but you know what? There's not many. And to be honest with you, it's there's a few guys you would expect, but there's also some, the rookies, maybe Webb, maybe not Webb, maybe Roop, maybe not Roop. But I think Roop and the right offer came down. Webb and Roop are gone. And I think this team, and I think Chapman is gone. I for no other reason than that contract is hampering other stuff that they're doing, and that I think is going to that is going to create some things. Hey, again, 12 minutes are scheduled to be joined here by yeah, scheduled to be joined by one of the artists I'm really a big fan of, Mary Kutter, and so we are going. And so with that, hey, share the live, get some more people in here before she like brings half the world with her. And so that's gonna, that's for sure gonna be a thing there. I went out to the Monterey Bay Sirens on Saturday, seventh game for them. 18 goals, 18 goals for, 4 goals against on the season, including one in extra time to break a 2-2 draw and pull out a win, the the sixth win in 7 games. Draw is the only blemish on the season. And just to be honest with you, this is a team that in a league where all you can do is either hold on here, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay, there we go. Where in a league where you're either first or you're not there. They're first right now, and 3 games left. I think they have to win one more to finish the season off. I'm gonna check on that. I'll have a little more on that tomorrow. Got a little bit from Coach. We're gonna have that for you tomorrow. And so these are all things to look forward to. So yeah, so that's kind of what we got going on here today. World Cup is, having had a friend of mine was there talking about how much they are really getting into the World Cup, but my thing is that I'm not, when you have a team like, and I had this, sorry, when you have a team like Cape Verde drawing France, not drawing France, drawing Spain. Playing for a draw just to get through is not any sort of fun sort of football. I mean, and all right, okay. So I don't know where Canton Greater Omaha is. I'm gonna figure that out real quick here. Here's what I was going to do. I'm going to had, was busy working with Lucy Cry, doing some writing stuff this week. They have a fun little. She has a fun little song to sit there and hit us with. So let me figure out where everybody is, what's going on here, and we'll be back in, what is this? It says 4 minutes. Well, let's see what happens. All right, here we go.
You swore you loved me forever on a Friday night. By Sunday you were sneaking out after picking a fight. On your mama's lie, you told me that line. Turns out you're just better at lying than I am at reading the signs. I ain't proud of the thoughts running around in my head. That guy who crossed me, they ain't found him yet. I ain't saying I'd do it, don't bet that I won't, 'cause I kinda wanna show you my crazy side. crazy side. Best friend said, honey, let it go. But she didn't have to sit here and watch you go. She keeps hiding my keys. She took my bottle away. I'm beyond seeing red. It's time I put these idle hands to play. Crazy side. Maybe it's about time you met my crazy side.
All right, we are back right here on One Season in the Sun. All right. Did you finally figure that out, Kent from Greater Omaha?
I think it's letting me stay.
Okay. Hold.
Kent from Greater Omaha. Salt of the earth, no masquerade. Yes, uneasy round the black Escalade. It's Kent from Greater Omaha. Kent from Greater Omaha. No.
All righty. So we haven't got any. Well, we're not going to do new stuff today because we're expecting our esteemed guest here. Oh, here's something I got to. Okay. So, Enzo just kind of disappeared somewhere. Apparently, somebody was like willing to hang out with him last night. And so Darla and I are looking at each other. Let's go for a ride, right? So we go for a ride. Okay. And so we're driving around, little doggy dog parent ride, and I'm sitting there eating yet another bag of the honey butter cashews. I need to check this out here. Hold on.
That's two now,
dogs
right?
have
That's 2 bags?
Trader Joe's honey butter cashews?
Probably. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to check. Oh, crap. Okay. 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 So it's like the Oracle has said, I wouldn't give them a lot of them, but it's not like they're horrible for them. But yeah, cashews are fine. But yeah. But here's the thing. She smelled them. She came over in my lap and was like, "Excuse me, sir. You should be sharing those with a small invisible dog." And and I gave her like 3 of them. And I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to be a long-term issue. But I didn't have treats in the car. Okay. So it was just kind of a. It was kind of a that thing.
What was on hand?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and it was what she was sitting there going like, okay, so what the? Why are you? Why are you doing eating these things and not giving them to a dog? And
it's a sound argument.
Yeah, she was making a unassailable argument about why I should give her them. And I mean, So we had her graduation last week of her last class.
Yay!
And she was better than she was the week before, but she did kind of low bar her way through it. Senegal should not have just scored and made it 2-1 with still 4 minutes to play. So I don't know.
Trying to keep soccer exciting. It's very important.
Well, I mean, just international.
You know my favorite thing.
I just don't like international football because in tournaments everybody's just trying to get through to the knockout rounds, and then some of those teams that get through there when they feel like they're not a match, they just they just kind of like, oh well, we we'll just try to get to penalty kicks, and I'm like, it's a stupid way for me. It's a stupid way to design an international match, and then also it encourages just being, just parking the bus and making it so somebody can't get through your lines. Oh my Jesus! Did that really just happen? So Senegal scores. Okay, so Senegal scores. Not that I'm doing play-by-play.
Goal.
Senegal scores, and then immediately France brings it down, and Mbappe scores from like 10 yards above the D. So I'm like, wow, that was over. All right, so any moment now is we are going to just keep our eye on everything. And if users and if people watching would kindly throw some likes or some some whatever's in there, we are going to keep watching for where our guest is going to join us here, and we're going to
probably a bigger guest than when we had Anish Kapoor on.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, or whoever he is today.
I'm trying to be accurate. That's how he identifies himself.
Yeah, he identifies it.
I'm trying to be with it. I'm trying to be with the times.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 coated cashews are a small amount yet. Factors, no symptoms. Thirsty from salt. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
aren't dogs already inherently pretty thirsty?
Yeah, she's not having any issues. So there we go. Yeah. So
they're not made for pets, but they can survive them.
Yes. No, it's true. I think the next time. Let's see. What about Trader Joe's turkey pepperoni? Yeah.
That sounds good. Hey,
how you doing?
Oh, we are
welcome.
Doing fabulous. We are joined here by new friend of the program, Mary Kutter, all the way from Nashville. She thanks for joining us here. What's going on with you today? Let's start there.
Man, I'll tell you what, I literally just walked in the door. I just got done with my writing session. I was writing on Music Row today. Now, have you been in Nashville?
Yes, I have.
Well, you know about Music Row, and so I literally just wrote this crazy song. I can't wait for you to hear it. It was a really good day.
Well, good. And so, first off, you got to get out this way a little bit. You got to get out to Cali, and when you do, I'm be hitting you up for being on the list.
I can't wait.
Dang it! I've seen videos there, but of you doing performances out that way, but I'm kind of like I've not been able to get out that way to do that. So how much? So let's just kind of start there. I know in like iTunes profile, it was talking about how you were identified by your piano teacher as a singer. Talk to us a little bit about that, because this sounds like it's going to be better out of your voice.
Well, I'll tell you what, you never know what's going to happen. But whenever I was a little girl, so I grew up in Kentucky, and my mama, she thought it would be good for my brother and me to take piano classes, piano lessons, I should say. And anyway, I was a little girl. I was 6 years old, and my piano teacher, she had cats at her house, and one of the cats had a litter of kittens. And what we would do every week, my brother would be taking his lesson, and I would just hang out. Then he would hang out, and I would take my lesson, right? Well, anyway, it wasn't my lesson time, but my piano teacher, she heard me singing to the kitty cats, and she was like, "Oh, this girl can sing." And she said, "Come in here, Mary." And she sat down at her piano. She had this beautiful baby grand piano, and she played me this song, and it was called Moon River, and it's the old standard. That's such a beautiful song. And she said, "I want to teach you how to sing this song." And we surprised my parents that year at the piano recital, and that was the first time I'd ever sung in front of anyone, and they didn't know I was going to sing, and I think they were all kind of like, "Oh, interesting," but it all started with the kitty cats.
There you go. Well, see that, and that kind of starts. That kind of starts from everywhere. I mean, yeah, for me, I got kind of encouraged, forced to start playing piano when I was 5, and it's just like, but I hated it for years, but then eventually I've never been homeless because I played piano and guitar. So it's like there were some times I was close to homeless, but I could always get a gig and get something paid. So yeah, so I get that for sure. When did you start writing? Is something because it sounds like some of the stuff you have is from remembrances of long ago, but then some of it is like stuff that happened last week that you're really just kind of annoyed at.
Well, there's a lot of things in the crock pot, right? Well, it's kind of crazy is I actually kind of got my start in Nashville writing songs for other artists to sing. That was how I was making my bread and butter for years whenever I moved to town. And gosh, that's when I would guess I would say, I started writing professionally, where you're trying to make your bread and butter. But man, back when I was a little kiddo, I was always writing things down. I don't think I knew that they were technically songs, and maybe they were more poems than songs. I don't know, but I was always outside. My parents, they really believed in the whole thing. When it's summertime, they'd throw us out and say, "Don't come back till supper time." And literally, we'd be outside all day. And, I'd be playing with my doggies out on the farm. And that's when I was a little girl. And, I'd be making up songs. And then, of course, later with our chores, my main chore outside was pulling weeds. And man, I'll tell you what, it kind of scarred me for life with tomatoes, because the tomato plants, for some reason, they had the most weeds. I don't know why, but anyway, I used to kind of just come up with little tunes while I was working, and I guess that was probably the real start of everything.
Yeah. So so something I was wondering the other day, because I'm going to tangent here a lot. My co-host Kent from Greater Omaha is right
Hey
there.
Kent, how you doing?
Hey, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, sugar.
Something I was noticing the other day, and so I cannot help but notice them very dangerous nails you got going on right there. Yeah.
Well, those are sharp.
Are those ones that come off when it's time to get on stage? Do you? I mean, or do you just leave, or are they just like permanently attached and somebody else has got to play guitar?
They're permanently attached until they break. You know what I'm saying? And I will tell you, they do break. They really do, because this is the problem. I move my hands around like I don't have long nails. It was so funny. I was actually getting them fixed up the other day, and my nail guy named Ben, he was telling me, he was like, "Mary, I saw your video from the other day in Carolina. You had your drumstick, you were beating the drums." Like, no, the nails. And so it's always a dangerous situation. But I will say, I've kind of learned how to play the guitar using bar chords. And of course, I took that from Dolly, because she always has her nails long for the most part, on stage. And it's just a different kind of tuning. But it keeps life exciting.
Okay, so yeah, I can see that for sure. So, and
no doubt.
And so, I mean, so you obviously then would have a lead guitar player, because I'm sure there's no way to sit there and do scale solos while with that.
Oh yeah.
It would sound like
100%. It'd be a lot of extra notes if I was doing it with my claws,
Yeah.
you know?
It would be hard to do hammer-ons with that. You'd just be like, no, I got you there. So talk about where some of this stuff comes from. I mean, I'll admit that I came across you because I saw another artist on Instagram, and then I was like, all right, well, you know, she has stuff on iTunes. All right, I'm always into new artists. And then it was like, and then you came up under similar artists at the end. And I literally cannot remember who the first artist was, because
I'm thankful for them.
I was like going, okay. But then I just started, you know, hearing some of the stuff, and some of the stuff that really stuck with me. And it's the long-term phrasing there for me. It's and Kent can testify to this. We used to use a lot of your stuff on for our buffers until Iffy Spot got crazy about it for the podcast, and
we got yelled at.
We got yelled, and we got yelled at like 4 times, and had some stuff taken down, and I'm just like, all right, fine, screw you guys. Which is when we start. No, it wasn't you.
No, it's not you at all.
I blame Neil Schoen. Okay,
there we go.
I mean, Neil Schoen is really the one that made all this happen, because literally, and you know, tangent, you know, you'll find that out. Neil Schoen, when Instagram first started letting them do lives, he literally had a 5-minute video rant of how he got shut down on a live because he was playing a Journey song.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
And then he had a 5-minute rant. I wrote this song, blah, blah, blah. Then don't tell Instagram to stop anybody's live when you're playing your song. You know, your 35-year-old song that you would probably should be happy that people are playing it, to be honest with you. And so it's like, you know, and so like when we're talking about some of the stuff, like Devil's Money, the phrasing on it for me is just kind of like, you know, how do you hear that? Where does that come from? You know, I just always want to know, did your grandpa really build a church and then hold it over everybody's head? I just want to know these things when I'm hearing it.
Well, you know, I feel honored.
Say what?
Well, I feel honored that, you know, you'd even care, to be honest, you know, and yes, Devil's Money is based on a true story. My great-granddaddy was a bootlegger in Kentucky, and right outside of Bardstown is kind of where he ran them roads. And anyway, some of that bootlegging money that he made, he helped build a church that's still standing today. And so, you know, I grew up hearing stories about him. You know, we'd be driving home, you know, from Louisville, you know, being out for the day. We'd drive by the road where the church is at. My mama, she would point down the road, say, down that road, you know, that's the church where your great-granddaddy, he built it with bootlegging money. And of course, I just kind of, you know, didn't really even understand what that meant as a little girl. But growing up, you know, I learned more about his life, and he had a very interesting life. He was an orphan by the time he was 2 years old. And he went out west searching for gold, but he found out that, you know, I guess, you know, his treasure, for lack of a better word, was going to be in Kentucky, and that was bootlegging. And he really went all the way with it. And he had a lot of crazy situations that went down during Prohibition. He had a run-in with Al Capone, for example. Some sad stuff too. I mean, he lost his son to a drinking accident, you know, drinking and driving. And what's so interesting too, a little side note on that, in my neck of the woods where he was at that point in time in the 20s, there were still a lot of people that did not drive cars in Kentucky, like in that area. So it's kind of interesting, you know, he had a car. My grandpa had a car as a teenager. And of course, his son who passed away did too. And they kind of were living high on the hog, but then the stock market crash happened, and he lost everything, literally lost everything. And they say he died from a broken heart. His son had just passed away, and he lost his fortune, and then he died within a year. And so, but in that window of time, the 20s, it really was a roaring 20s for him. He was making all that money. He built the church, really lived a heck of a life. But that's what started the premise, was me thinking about, just what an interesting story it was. But I will be real with you, I wasn't sure that anyone would care, because it's kind of a niche idea. Story said in the 1920s about a bootlegger who built a church. But
my favorite song of yours.
well, thank you. That means a lot to me, and it was real fun to write. And
you know what? I'm going to risk Iffy spot. I don't care. I'm just going to risk it.
Yeah, we're just going
to right here, because in our buffer music, I had wait a minute. Is this the right one? Yeah, really, I'm risking Iffy spot. I don't care.
Here we go. Caution to the wind.
Caution to the wind. Here we go.
It's the sort of show we are.
Yeah, you are.
I don't know why it's not starting here for me.
We're outlaws. All right.
Why?
Oh, we talked it up. Now it's got to play.
No, now I've messed it up.
Anticipation.
We always have technical issues on Tuesdays. I don't know what it is.
It is.
It's that Taco Tuesday just rolling around. The Taco Tuesday monster.
Well, I think
normally
so.
Normally it worked. Okay, you were here, Ken. It worked earlier. I don't know what.
I know. I know what I heard. All right, I'll just sing it real quick. No, you don't want that.
Let's not do that. Well, you know what? Eventually,
we want people to keep listening.
We're going to hear it come right on in, and it's going to be like, I don't know. It was, but no, I mean, it was like. So when we're sitting there doing this. Oh, okay. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was my problem. I didn't have the volume up in the app. So maybe.
Well, thank you,
what a tricky app.
That means a lot to me.
There it is. So I mean, yeah, and so when I heard that originally there, it was just kind of like the phrasing of it. Really just kind of got to me, and
like corn into shine and shine into dollars.
If you're making money on
get the whole picture.
I'm telling you, half of it's from me, because I have listened.
That means a lot.
I have listened to everything. There are songs that you put on the when you're doing the little pieces on the Instagram that I'm just like going, all right, when are you releasing this? And then you don't, and then I'm like, the hell? But that's kind of the thing. So, so when we're sitting there talking about how, so Devil's Money came from a long way ago, but like Truck Around, I mean, is this like, vengeance to an ex-boyfriend, or what's going on here with it?
That was such a fun song to write. I actually wrote it on a Halloween, which is kind of interesting. A couple of my friends and I, we got in a room, and instead of, we were eating candy though, I will say that, but we just started kind of playing around with it, and we were thinking, what's the craziest way we could just, write this title? And it was a fun song. It's been one that's been really fun to play live as well.
Yeah. And so how are you, so let's let's drill down here in a little bit. So how are you able to come up with these snippets of songs so quickly? And I mean, are you doing all the arranging yourself? I mean, is someone else doing it? Who's doing all the recordings? I mean, because there's some, I mean, even in the snippets that you don't put out, there's some polished stuff in there.
Thank you, Sugar. That means a lot to me. Well, back around the time of Devil's Money, right before that popped off, I decided because at that point in time, I was writing songs mainly for other artists, right? That's what I was doing every day. That was my 9 to 5, sort. Every day I would show up and I would write songs, but they were for other people to sing. Well, I really had it in my heart that I wanted to be singing these songs. Well, so I started writing on nights and weekends with just close friends of mine, and I decided what I'd do, because I didn't have anything going on, business-wise. But I thought, you know what, I'll just get the recordings of what we record in the room that day, just from our writing session, and just post little clips of it online and see if folks like it. And so 99.9% of what you hear on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook are demos. They're day of demos where for any folks that don't know the musical lingo, what that is just in most writing rooms, like even the one I was in right before I came on your show, I was there, and a writer who also does tracks, which means he can just do recordings. He was there, he had his computer, and then we had one more writer in there who's just great with melodies and lyrics. And anyway, most sessions are about 3-4 hours. And first, what you do is you throw around a bunch of different song ideas and you write the song, and then you just record a little simple recording. And some folks, that just means, guitar vocal. For me, I really like to rock. So sometimes there's, some little extra instruments we're throwing in there. But this is what's so wild nowadays with laptops, with the different plugins and stuff, they can play the acoustic guitar and it sounds like electric guitar,
Yeah.
But that's how the arranging stuff would happen. But every morning I get up at 5 a.m. and I've been doing this for a couple of years now. And what I do in the morning, I do a little bit of solo writing before I go for my run, and before I have my writing session with other people, because I always like to have some ideas. It doesn't have to be my song idea. It don't matter whose idea it is, but I like to come in with concepts. And sometimes I'll have a bunch of lyrics, like Devil's Money. Lord, I probably had like 5 pages of lyrics, just lyrical ideas. I didn't know that Devil's Money was the title. I had it written down, but I wasn't sure if that was the money title or not. But I literally had 5 pages of lyrics. And then I brought it in my co-writers. I was like, hey, it's kind of a different idea. I don't know if y'all are into it or not. No pressure. But this is kind of what I've been starting on. And they kind of became excavators of sorts, seeing, what's the diamonds and what are just rocks. And that's kind of how the writing process works for me anyway.
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
And so when you're getting together in these writing things, is it with other singers, with just your band? I mean, who are you getting together with when you're doing these things?
Well, and of course, there's a million ways to slice an onion. Different artists do it different ways. What I typically do, man, I am so lucky to really have a great group of friends that, like for example, my co-writer Brian Alexander, he's on Devil's Money. We wrote that together. He also wrote The Devil Wore a Lab Coat with me. He also is a writer on a handful of other songs. I mean, my upcoming album that I'm dropping, he already has 6 songs on the record, and we ain't even done yet, And that being said, he's in a lot of the rooms. And then, whenever I was writing for different artists in town, I met a lot of people because I was getting pulled into different rooms when folks were like, hey, I want, to have someone come in to help tell my story. I kind of became that girl, whether it was a wedding song or a breakup song or, something in between, So I kind of have a little Rolodex now of folks that, I love writing with that maybe are excited to do something a little bit different, because I do think, music-wise, I might be a little bit different than what other artists are in town.
Yeah, because country has kind of turned that corner into having more edge, with kind of like the new highway country, I guess, is the new genre, I guess, of it, where it's, where you have you have these guys that came from a rock and roll background, but then found that the storytelling wasn't in pop music, and they kind of did a little bit of rearranging, and it's, but what's kind of interesting there for you, that I look at, is that your legacy so far is mostly singles and not groups. Is that just part of that is that you're kind of like, are you just feeling like, I don't know if this works with that in things, or are you just kind of like, I'm putting them out one at a time and I'll decide what the group is later? I mean, how is that kind of going there for you?
That's a real good question, Brian. I'll just be real with you. Leading up to this point, because I just signed my record deal just at the top of the year. We announced it in February, mid-February. Prior to that, everything I was releasing, I had to pay for the recordings, and I guess you still kind of do with record deals because you pay for that. But it was just the most cost efficient kind of thing. And what I was doing was I would, remember post those little day of demos, and if there was a song that seemed like folks liked, I was like, you know what? I'd call up my friend that, was maybe a writer on it and be like, hey, can we maybe, let's add a little bit of, cayenne pepper to the sauce and then let's serve it on up. Let's get it out the door for the folks. So that's why it was the way it was up to this point. Now, what's so exciting though is, this album we've been working on, and we're going to be announcing, its drop day and everything real soon. But there is something about dropping singles leading up to this point. But then now that we have this album right about to get out of the oven, kind of serving some hors d'oeuvres before it's, supper time.
So
I love it.
The album, is this going to have anything that we're already familiar with, or is it going to be all new stuff?
It's going to be, there are going to be some songs that are fan favorites, but reimagined. Because, up to this point, I never was playlisted on any playlist. I didn't have any money behind it. Truly, every stream that I got was from social media. Legitimately.
Yeah.
There are a couple songs that we have on there that have been re-recorded, kind of reimagined, that we will be releasing. But then a lot of them are brand new songs, and I'm just so excited.
Okay, I got you.
Very cool. Is there a particular theme to this album?
That's a great question, Ken. It's an album that's about real people. I mean, I write music for the folks. I always think to myself, where I grew up, I don't know if Walmart's big where y'all live, but
we have 4.
Or Wally World, as I love to call it.
I have a Walmart Lite near me. It's like a third the size of the Target, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, well, then you know what's up. Well, where I grew up, that was kind of the main spot to get your groceries and everything. And as a little girl, where I grew up, every weekend, my daddy, he would put me in his green Blazer. We would drive 30 minutes each way to get our groceries. And, the whole time we'd be driving out there, we'd be cranking up. For him, it was classic rock. And that's how I fell in love with people like Alice Cooper and AC/DC, the Stones. But anyway, I still love Walmart. To this day, I love to go back up to Kentucky, go shopping up there. I don't know. There's something about home there. But I like to write songs that are for folks that are just normal folks, And, Brian, love you, girl. My family is all out of Eastern Kentucky. I see you, Brian. But anyway, I would say, though, kid, that's one of the main themes is that, man, there's a lot of rock and jams on there because I do love to rock, and we've been playing a lot of live shows, and it's crazy. And there's a lot of songs that move and groove, but I definitely didn't want to shy away from some heavier topics that maybe aren't always talked about, but I feel like in country music, our genre, we have the ability, a little bit of a license to go there. And so some of the songs on the record are like, oh, are we singing a song about that? Yeah, we are.
Yeah, and that is for sure one of the things that always just kind of goes, because in the genre, in the country genre as a whole, regardless of trying to separate up, because I hear a lot of different genres in there where you'll have so you kind of jump around a little bit, which I think is perfectly okay, but I think I would rather you do that and me just be like accepting everything for that versus trying to pigeonhole and then everything's got to fit the mold of the last thing or else, and it just kind of
It's
goes.
fun to have different flavors and different colors of crayons in the crayon box. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You like crayons.
Yeah.
You can color a pretty picture, hopefully.
Yeah, but the thing is that otherwise, if you get another album from somebody, then you're like going, oh well, it's going to sound like this and it's going to sound like that.
For sure.
And I always remember that that line from Rockstar where Mark Wahlberg gets told, Well, it's like they're expecting something from us when they hear an album. Otherwise, they might as well be listening to Rat. And it's just,
Right.
and then it's like going, and I'm like, yeah, because yeah, Rat had 14 albums, something, and they all kind of sound like Rat albums. And I'm just,
Right, right.
and I mean, and it's like, what do you have, like 20 something songs on your
That sounds
stream list
about
here?
right.
And I don't think there's a lot of this sounds like that kind of
Thank you. That's a huge
stuff.
compliment.
And that's I think that's what I think that's what draws a lot of a lot of the attention that you get. I just look at some of this, and like when you post some of the stuff where it has the live sound, definitely, are you trying to stay closer to what is on the recorded version, or are you just kind of like, when we're going live, yeah, the melody stays, but everything else, it can kind of go out there depending on the night and depending on the feel. So everybody gets something different every night.
That's a great way of looking at things. Every night it's going to be a little bit different, I think, just with the energy of the room. It was so wild. I guess about 2 weeks ago was CMA Fest, and it was a really cool weekend where Friday afternoon during CMA Fest, I played right outside the Ryman. The Ryman had this special show, and it was an itty bitty tiny stage that was packed with people CMA Fest, but like, I'm telling you what, like, and I move and groove a lot on stage. We were all loving on each other, kind of like sardines in a can. Well, right after that show, like literally immediately after I got off the stage, gave a couple hugs, and we were in the van headed to Carolina. Well, the next day we're in South Carolina, and I'm playing a show, and there was the girl who does all my content. She said there was 5,000 to 8,000 people there. That's hard for me to comprehend, but she might be right, And it was a packed thing, a huge stage. Well, that night, we were playing a similar. It was basically the same set, but it was a different show. It's going to sound different because totally both were awesome. Both were so cool, so much fun to play, but they're just different things. The first one was very intimate. The next one was like this huge stage with all the lights and all the special effects, and we were right on the beach. It was crazy. It was just a different energy. So that being said, when it comes to the recordings, I would guess that probably I do rock it out a little bit more, live. But gosh, I just kind of let the spirit lead you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so, and do you like have a regular band, or is it like just every time you're going out, you find the same different beats?
For the most part, it's the same. I mean, sometimes there might be, someone that has to fill in. There's a family thing or whatever. But and JB said, "Did your sunburn heal yet?" I think so. It's kind of turned into what happened, Brian and Kent. So the day of the Carolina show, we had to get there at 8 a.m. for our sound check, but we didn't perform until 8 p.m. Okay.
Ooh.
So we do our sound check. It was awesome. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm on Myrtle Beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've never been there before. I was like, I'm going to walk all day. So I literally, and I kid you not, walked for several hours on literally just long walk on the beach. I got like 26,000 steps that day.
Nice.
Anyway, it was all before the show. Anyway, well, right before it was time to go on stage, I lift up my hair because we were putting the little in-ear pieces on, so we could hear the music. And my band's like, "Oh my gosh, your neck!" And I had a big old sunburn, but it's okay now. Thank you, JB, for asking.
Yeah, that was kind of that kind of thing. It's like, I knew you had a sunburn. Whoever's doing your content shares a lot.
He does. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. It was kind of crazy, but
yeah,
it definitely keeps life exciting though, different. And I realized, I was telling someone this the other day. My mama, actually, I was telling my mom about this. I said, right now is such an interesting pool that I'm getting to swim in because, like my friend Bailey Zimmerman. literally every single night he's playing an arena. He's doing his first arena tour. Well,
Yep.
I'm sure every arena is different. I've only played in one so far, opening up for Hank Jr., and it was awesome. But I'm sure that, there's a lot of similarities. An arena is an arena. But currently, we do kind of have, like next week, I'm playing, well, no, this weekend, I'm playing another big festival up in New Jersey. And then the next day, I'm opening up for Dustin Lynch in New Hampshire. And I know, and that's at a casino. And I know those are totally, because the festival's on the beach, I think it's going to be kind of similar to that Carolina festival. And then, so it's going to be, different rooms every night, different experiences every night, but I'm just enjoying it and just trying to buckle up.
Yeah, no, I got you. So with bigger album coming here, I mean, are you going to be able to do like national work then now? Or, I mean, touring like a little more because it seems like you're more southeast kind of Midwest kind of area so far.
Honestly, so far that has been the situation. I mean, this weekend's our first time even going north of Ohio. I know that the race is kind of like whenever the horses are at the Derby and they're all in their little stalls, and they're about ready to shoot the gun and everyone starts running, that's kind of where we're at right now in the stalls, right before things really get moving. And I think once that does happen, we're going to be going out west more. We're going to be still going down south a lot, up north, east. I think it's going to just keep on growing.
Yeah, no, I got you. Well, I'm just telling you, you get to California, you will see an email from me because I want on the list. I don't care where it is in California.
Wait, sugar. Isn't it great? I can't wait to come to California.
Absolutely. And because I could skateboard even, although I shouldn't skateboard because I have a little bit of an issue, but I could skateboard down the hill. It's only a mile, but it's straight down the hill to the beach. So yeah, it's here we're rocking there. But yeah, it's just, like I said, and Kent can attest to the fact that, when I started doing the stuff on, literally on our original buffers for the show, I think you had 2 of them.
Yep.
2 of the 5 were hers.
Yep.
And it was like, and then the other one was, okay, what was the other one? It was,
I'm trying to remember.
Tim Capello. Yeah.
There we go. Yep.
Tim Capello, and you may know him. Tim Capello is the guy from Lost Boys, which was filmed in Santa Cruz. He's the singing saxophone player at the beach. The beach that's all oiled up, and then she's like going, "Oh, I'm gonna go watch this movie now."
Yep.
but it's like, and so he cut. It was funny because when he came to Santa Cruz, he was like, "I came to Santa Cruz for the movie because I was blessed to be able to talk to him." He said, "I came to Santa Cruz for the new movie, but I've never played in Santa Cruz." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, man, it's like, dude, he's but he was also for years, his day job was he was the saxophone player for Tina Turner for years."
Wow. Pretty cool day job.
To be known as the guy in the pink tights playing the saxophone with the oiled pads.
That's crazy.
If you're
to be immortalized, you mean?
You're getting residuals, dude.
That's right.
I have a friend of mine who's again, tangents. Yeah, there you go. I have a friend of mine who actually lives here. That he was the saxophone player for in the band in La Bamba, in the movie La Bamba. And he literally was making like 60, 80 grand a year in residuals for that. He's like,
wow.
That's my biggest gig I ever had, and that's been paying the bills for years. And I'm like, dude, whatever you got to do, dude. I mean, it's just like whatever you got to do. But I'm just kind of what I want. I mean, really, truly, what I want is I want everybody to sit there and go check all the check the songs out. I mean, I have some favorites. I want everybody else to know what the favorites are. This is one of those ones I'm gonna edit back up and I'm gonna post the whole thing to TikTok. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's you don't seem to try to drill down one thing. It's like everything just a different, I'm not going to build off this or I'm not going to build off that. Because in my writing, I always found like, I didn't finish a song, so there's like 3 more. And or do you just like start fresh every time you're trying to put a 4-minute thing together?
It kind of depends. I think I definitely have went down bunny trails before where I'm obsessed with writing like, around, a certain type of musical thing or concept wise. Last year I definitely wrote a lot of songs about things that, I was observing around the world that I wanted to change, activist songs. I kind of went on a little spell there. And then I realized, am I writing the Nebraska album before the first album? That probably isn't the good thing to do. But anyway, I
Kent's
just
in
got
Nebraska.
involved.
He'd appreciate
I'm
it.
in Nebraska. I'd love that album.
I love it too. I think it's great. I think it's so great.
Yeah. And so, I mean, because like, and so when was the first time you really got noticed by labels? Because I know you've been playing the Strip there quite a bit over the last couple of years. When were you starting to get, hey, look, I'm not only just playing shows, but something more could happen here?
Devil's Money was definitely when labels started sniffing around, but
Smart labels.
well, thank you, Kent. Kind of an interesting time though when Devil's Money popped off. It was okay. I'll rewind. In 2020, when TikTok blew up.
I'm just gonna start right there. See, Kent, I told you she tangents too, so she just fits right in. There you go. Keep going.
Well, in 2020, when TikTok blew up, there were, there was kind of a big wave of a lot of artists getting signed that went viral online. That was just kind of a thing across the board, not just in country music, but in Nashville, big time. If you had a video that hit 100,000 views at that point in time, people were calling you up, Well, at that point in time, the reason I know that is I was writing for other artists at that point, and a lot of those artists were those artists that got snatched up at that time. Well, unfortunately, in the next couple years, that next 3-4 years, some of those artists worked out. Like Bailey's a great example. He's killing it still. He wasn't just a TikTok act. But there were a bunch of artists that got signed that, were one-hit wonders. And so labels, it was interesting. It was kind of I don't want to say a double-edged sword because I'm very grateful and I know it helped things because, I got to, introduce my music to folks that didn't know it before. But I do think that while Devil's Money, I started getting a bunch of calls, I think all the business folks were rightfully so, thinking, okay, now we're looking at artists in a different light. You know what I'm saying? Is this just a little one-hit wonder on TikTok? Did they just do a cool dance to make their songs go viral, And so that was when they first reached out, different labels. And I was real, I don't want to say hard-headed, but I really knew that I only wanted to sign a record deal if it was going to be with a company that believed in me and didn't want to water it down. Because, I'd written with a lot of artists that they would sign record deals and totally change their sound. They got them to where they are. And I get it. I get why folks would do that. And there's nothing wrong with growing and evolving. But sometimes folks can water it down so much it don't even taste like bourbon no more, And so I kind of just kept on doing my thing, writing songs, playing shows. And folks kept on knocking, and it was after the Devil Wore a Lab Coat that it really started making things very easy for me and easy for, I think, the business folks that were interested to see, okay, Mary Kutter is not this over here or this over here, she's right here. And that was when it kind of got a lot of clarity, and that was last summer, and at that point, that's when all the deal offers started, though. Before that, but that's when things really started moving and grooving.
Because, like, when you're writing and doing some of these stuff, sorry, mailman's at the door, and dog just hates.
Your little guard doggy.
Yeah,
that's right.
She's
She's terrifying. Yeah.
But so a lot of artists, myself included, so I'm guilty of that. They're kind of like, well, I'm writing stuff for other people, but I'm holding this because if I ever get signed, this is first single off the album. Were there songs like that?
I think for me, there was always a couple. I will say though, whenever I was pulled into writing rooms for other artists, it was always very clear, in my brain anyway. Today I'm writing for Alexandra Kay, or I'm writing for Nate Smith, or whoever else it was, and so my brain just kind of approached. It's kind of like when you're making cookies for someone, and you already know you're baking those cookies to give them away. You don't get attached thinking you're going to be eating the cookies and sundaes, in front of the TV later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a different thing. But I will say though, Brian, I've heard a lot of stories about folks, like Sam Hunt, for example. He had wanted Cop Car to be on his first record. And of course, Keith Urban ended up cutting it. And of course, it worked out good for everybody. But, those kinds of things, they get tangled sometimes.
Yeah. No, I got you. And yeah, because it's like, yeah, and that's just kind of one of those where they, sometimes you got to feel guarded about stuff. But then I guess the other side, too, is if somebody wants something enough, I guess there's always a price.
Right.
Because I mean, I could probably go down down the list and be like, okay, you'd never sell this one, never sell this one, never sell this one, because I feel like there's some stuff like Dosey Don't and God Made a Farmer and Devil's Money. I mean, I feel like those would be never sells, but everything else is kind of like.
That means so much. Thank you.
If somebody
I love
comes
that you
along,
have your favorites. Now we know.
Yeah. Well, but see that. But the thing is it like you can see in like you were saying, when you're writing for somebody else, it's different than when you're sitting here saying, well, this is the first single off my album. You can tell which ones are like, yeah, that's going to be the first single off the album. And yeah, like I said, we are gratefully looking forward to hearing it. Please, anytime you got something going on, let us know. We will, sit down and we'll talk about it. And because we're, we love friends of the show. And
I'm over the moon. We got you on.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kent.
I said I'm over the moon. We got you on. It's so cool.
Well, y'all let me know whenever you're in Nashville, and we'll have to meet up. And I'd love to meet you on the show. Obviously, I'm sure that'll happen sooner than later.
Well, and
that'd be awesome.
Here's the thing: I'm just gonna say you're gonna get here before I get there. But when you get here, I'm gonna be like, hey, get on the list. And she's gonna be like, who's calling?
No, please give me a call. No, I'm so glad we got to hang out today. It just kind of made my day.
There we go.
We
really appreciate you. And so I'm gonna send you the link to this, of course. And absolutely thank everybody for sticking around here. And we are literally just so happy to have you on today. And we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have this week in Bubbles. Never know.
Okay.
She said she had bubble stuff, and then I don't know. You know how bubble.
Does that mean she has bubble stuff to bring, or she's not going to be there because she has bubble stuff on a pier somewhere?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's no. You have seen text from Rachel. Rachel does not use punctuation. Okay.
That's fair.
But we will have Taste Test Tuesday on Wednesday. I have no idea what the hell we're having because I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Well, we're going to do all that. We're going to send this out to Mary. We thank you so much, Mary, for joining us. And
thank you so much.
We will be in touch, and absolutely we will. As soon as I see California on the list, I'm like going, oh, well, that's in L.A. I'm going. I don't care. I'll go down there. I'll go down there for it. All right. So thank you all for joining us here on this episode of One Season in the Sun. You can, of course, catch us live via audio if you're in the car. Tune in, look at for Santa Cruz Voice. The the Google Play Store has it just the Santa Cruz Voice app. Everything else is coming soon. You know how it is, IT guys. And in the meantime, you can always catch it on every podcast location at One Season in the Sun. And we will check y'all later. Thank you, Mary, for joining us. We appreciate everything, and we will talk y'all later. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Let me just go exactly how we got into this, and we will buffer on out. And there we go. Full song on the podcast version. All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
Great meeting you.
Great meeting you.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.